So we only have about 23 days left for the Legion Remix event in World of Warcraft, and while many people may know that the Remix events are primarily focused on earning just a ridiculous amount of cosmetics, a lot of people may not know some of the specific unique cosmetics that are obtainable in other parts of the game, but work differently when you obtain them in Legion Remix. And we're going to go over what I think is the most important items that work like this in Legion Remix in this video, but I'm going to do a future video going over just every unique item in Legion Remix to give you an easy list if you want to go get all the stuff that you'll really never be able to obtain again, or to the best of our knowledge. And the cosmetics we're going to be going over in this video are the class tier sets, or more specifically, the sets you get at the raid apparel vendor. Now, pretty much everybody who's played Remix already knows about this vendor. You can go here, spend a bunch of bronze, and you get the full tier set of that specific raid. And most people think it works in just that way. That if I was a druid, I could come here and buy the set for the druid from a specific raid, and then I would be able to go and use that on that druid. But one thing I don't think a lot of people know is that these sets, specifically in Legion Remix, aren't actually the armor pieces you would normally get from going and doing the raid, because this is specifically an ensemble version of that set. And what that actually does is it means you can use these sets for everybody that can use that armor type. So this druid set right here is the raid druid set. Normally only a druid would be able to obtain this full set in the raid and be able to transmog it, but in Legion Remix only, if you buy the ensemble version of this, demon hunters, druids, monks, and rogues can also use this set. And this is the thing that makes these sets so much more unique in Legion Remix than they are in the normal game. And I think one of the reasons a lot of people don't know that this is actually how these ensembles work is a weird quirk with how they actually work after you get them. So as you can read on them, like we've already went over, all of the different classes that can wear that type of armor can actually use the sets from the ensemble version of Legion Remix. But if you actually go to a transmogrifier and you look for that set under sets, it will not be there. So I just got the astral set for the druid. It's not there. But if you just go to singular items, you can find it there. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I don't think a lot of people realize this, because they go to this vendor, they look at one of the sets they're going to buy. It says all these different classes can use them. They're on that class. They buy the set, they learn it, they go over to sets and they can't find it. So they just think it's a bug or something that's not supposed to be there and that they work like normal class sets. But if you just go to the singular items, you can start to find those actual pieces, and you can find the entirety of the set, which in the normal game, as like a demon hunter right here, I wouldn't be able to use this whole set. But if you come in Legion Remix and buy the ensemble versions, you can actually do it. I'm hoping at some point in the future they actually add it to the sets here. I'm sure there's an add-on that already does it, and there'll probably be an add-on that also does it in midnight after all the add-on changes. But that's actually one of the main reasons I want to go over this, because I think a lot of people probably didn't go into buying all of these different sets because they're quite expensive to get them all. If they weren't somebody that was already planning on spending a bunch of time in Legion Remix, they just bought the sets for the classes they normally play, not realizing that they could potentially be missing out on a bunch of sets on the classes they actually play from some of the other classes that they don't play. So I'd very much recommend farming up some additional bronze to buy all of these. Even if you only play a few classes, there's a pretty good chance there will be sets of classes you don't play that you want for the classes you actually play, because all it really takes is you playing one class of each armor set, and then there are going to be different armor sets you want for each class. And there's definitely a bunch of mixing and matching that you can very much do with all of these different pieces from all of the different classes to make some really cool transmog sets. And I know that for a fact because some of the items from some of these sets are purchased for hundreds of thousands of gold and have been being purchased for that since Legion. Let's take for instance the Chi-Ji sets. These sets right here, so this is the monk set, as you can clearly tell, tell, this set has the shoulders with the floating animated balls that are really monk inspired, but a lot of people really like the look of these kind of floating animated orbs that are on them. So a lot of people like to put this style or some of these transmog pieces in other transmogs they're working on, and more specifically, the shoulders of these are a piece of BOE shoulders from Antorus that any leather wearer can go and farm. And I know this because I have made tens of millions of gold selling only specifically these shoulders, because you can get all of the different colors from all of the different difficulties. But now just being able to go and use the entirety of the set on any of the other classes that can wear leather is not only going to save a lot of people a lot of gold and probably make me a lot less gold, but this is definitely something that people just want to do a lot of, because there are definitely just some of those pieces in other class sets that just work super well with a bunch of transmog sets. And this is a thing that we don't know if it will be back. We don't know if remix events will ever return. Like we had Mists of Pandaria remix, now we have Legion remix. We don't know if they're ever going to come back to these events. Presumably, if we get too far into the future, they will come back once we've done a bunch of the other ones, but we don't know when that would actually be. And we also don't know if this ensemble type is going to be something that they just add into the game as a normal feature into the future, or if this is only going to be a thing specific to Legion Remix, making every single one of these ensemble sets in Legion Remix completely unique armor pieces, because the normal armor pieces that share the exact same appearance in normal retail WoW don't function the same as all of these pieces do, even though you can get some of them as BOE pieces that function in basically the same way. You can't get the full sets. So if there was one thing I would say in Legion Remix that's probably going to be the most sought after and most used cosmetics, it's going to be these armor sets. Armor sets, I think, are probably some of just the most changed thing in the game. Obviously you have weapons, but weapons are much more class agnostic compared to actual class sets, especially from an expansion where I think they have some of the best class sets we've ever gotten in the entirety of the game. And Legion is modern enough to where all of these sets actually look really good graphically and fidelity wise. They don't have that really old look that's just much lower quality from older expansions. So if you're somebody that's not played any remix or played a bunch of remix and just hasn't bought a bunch of these sets, I would definitely recommend you go put in some time in a Legion remix in the last 23 days we have left to at least get all these armor sets, because these are definitely going to be things you want if you care at all about transmog for pretty much any class in the game. And also because of all the catch-up mechanics they've added in with the last phase of Legion remix, you can get a lot of bronze very easily. If you go play for a couple hours, primarily focusing on, say, doing dungeons or doing all the different difficulties of all the different raids, you can get hundreds of thousands of bronze in like an hour, maybe even more than that in an hour. And you can get substantially more than that if you don't have a lot of the achievements that give you a bunch of bronze. It shouldn't take a ton of time to actually buy out all the different sets, and that's definitely something I would recommend doing. But that's pretty much all I want to go over in this video. Like I mentioned, I'm going to do a video going over all of the different unique things to Legion Remix that potentially won't be able to ever get again unless Legion Remix comes back, because there are a lot of unique items outside of these class sets working in a unique way. There are a lot of other cosmetics that are actually unique and not just unique in the way that they function for how many different classes or armor types can just actually use them. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.